Hey everyone, Simon here. So the other day I was driving across the Miami Causeway and I saw these incredible clouds pregnant with rain looming over the entire city in such a dramatic and beautiful way. It made me immediately think about what was happening in the sky, in the uh, in the zodiac, and the moon was in Ardra Nakshatra. And I thought, wow, how fascinating is it that Ardra Nakshatra, which stands for the rain cloud, the storm, the teardrop, um, is so dramatically displayed in the heavens on the very day that the moon is in Ardra. And it was just a way that I connected to the sky. And at that moment, the logical part of me said, well, wait a minute. It's not going to be stormy all over the world just because the moon is in Ardra, right? And I thought, well, okay, so, but poetically, as a Jyotishi, as an astrologer, we connect signs and signals from the heavens to everyday reality. So an hour later, my brother calls me and he says, guess what, Simon? And he lives in Phoenix, Arizona. And he says, the clouds are looming. There's been a hurricane offshore and the clouds have come inland and it's this heavy, rainy kind of energy. And I thought, okay, there's my sort of a divine justification. So I thought, let's make a video on Ardra Nakshatra. So let's put this on the screen. So Ardra Nakshatra, and share some of the secrets. Now, a lot of you know probably the big things about Ardra, but there are some things that you may not know, and you know how to put this nakshatra to positive use. So Ardra is from 640 to 20 Gemini, but the Yogatara, the actual marker star of this nakshatra, is at 6 degrees Gemini, outside of its purported scope. And this, in a sense, illustrates the Ardra personality, which is to run away from the family unit. So the very home of the soul of the nakshatra, the person of the nakshatra, is outside of its home. Think of every nakshatra as a mansion. And the mansion gets its import, its value, from the owner of the mansion. So if you're walking by in Beverly Hills and the guide says, that's Madonna's house, and you look at the house and go, whoa, but it's not really the house that's important. It's the fact that Madonna owns it, that she lives in it, right? Because there's nice houses all over the place, but Madonna is what makes that house special. So it's the owner of the house, and the owner is like the Yogatara. And most of the nakshatras have Yogatara. Some don't, but most of them do. And for Ardra, the owner doesn't live in the house. He lives outside. And as the story goes in myth, the owner, Rudra, the deity of this nakshatra, ran away to the forest. He couldn't take witnessing the hypocrisy of the gods and the humans, of the suffering that entailed, and he ran away to do his own thing. And these are a lot of the qualities of this nakshatra, as we'll take a look. But before we do that, let's actually take a look at what this Yogatara looks like, and actually compare it to some of the other heavenly bodies that we work with. So this is a picture from Wikimedia Commons, which is a free site where royalty-free images can be found. So here's the size of Mercury, the smallest of the grahas traditionally used. Of course, Pluto and some of the other dwarf planets are small. So here's Mercury compared to Mars, which is slightly bigger, compared to Venus and the Earth, okay? But now we go on a different scale. If we take the Earth, this is the Earth down here. Compare that to Neptune. Look at how much bigger Neptune is, and Uranus. But then take a step up, look at how much bigger Saturn is, and then Jupiter. All right. But now look at Jupiter and compare that to the size of our sun. Tiny. And the size of our sun compared to Sirius, which is the dwarf, which is the reason Sirius is very bright is, yes, it's bigger than the sun, but it's also very close to the Earth relative to the other stars. And it's on the bottom of Orion. It's the dog star. I wrote a song that has a lyric goes something about dive bar and dog star. It rhymes those things, but never mind that. This is for another time. Never do videos at night when things get weird. Okay, so here's Sirius, which is about the size, several times bigger than our sun, but still comparable, and compared to the star Pollux. Now, this is Punarvasu Nakshatra, Pollux, okay? So this is Punarvasu, and look at how much bigger it is than Sirius, which is, bigger than our sun. Punarvasu, very big. But even bigger than Punarvasu is Arcturus, the Yogatara, many consider of Swati Nakshatra, at about 1 degree of Libra, but very far north, about, 40 degrees. I'm scratching my beard because I'm not sure. This is a universal signal of either boredom or not being sure in gesture reading. So those of you who read faces and gestures, especially in public and political people, especially what's going on CNN. Now, I'm not going to mention anything, but you can immediately tell when a person is being, what a person is feeling, if they're being genuine or if they're being disingenuous, if they're bored, or if they're not sure about something. Anyway, Arcturus is the marker star of Swati Nakshatra, or some people don't take a marker star for Arcturus. But compared then to Aldebaran, which is Rohini. This is the marker star of Rohini, the bull's eye. I believe it's this eye. Yeah, the left eye of the bull. Look at how much bigger Rohini is than Punarvasu and then Sirius and our little tiny sun. But going in another order of magnitude, let's scroll down here. Now, look at Rohini. This little thing is Rohini. Look at how this giant thing, Rohini, is now here. Compare that to Antares, which is the beating heart of the scorpion, Jyeshta. Jyeshta. Look at how much bigger Jyeshta Nakshatra's Yogatara is than Rohini, and how much bigger Rohini is than everything else. But then even bigger than Jyeshta is Betelgeuse. And Betelgeuse is the star we're talking about today. This is Ardra, the giant, massive, supergiant star that really, in terms of the nakshatras, has nothing really bigger than it, that I am aware of, at least. Yeah, it's the biggie. It's the bad boy. So this gives you an idea of how powerful this nakshatra is. And in fact, let me pull up a picture of Aldebaran, not Aldebaran, I'm sorry, of Betelgeuse from, check this picture out. This is the star Betelgeuse in the shoulder of Orion as seen from the planet Jupiter. This picture was taken from the craft looking out at Aldebaran. Just amazing, just amazing. And interestingly enough, the view it's a similar view that we have from Earth, because there's Betelgeuse in the right shoulder of Orion. Okay, so enough about that. Anyway, this is not necessarily pertinent to maybe why you guys are tuning into this video, but I thought I would take you on a tour through the visual of these stars, because 2,000 years ago, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, the time of Varaha Mihira, and the time of, you know, the Greeks and so on. Well, not the Greeks, but our ancestors, wherever you come from, and certainly farther back, the Greeks, the Romans, the Greeks, the Egyptians, the Indian subcontinent, the Babylonians, they all looked at the stars. And we made our measurements and predictions based on the night sky. So it's good to connect to it, I think. And I'm making this video at night, so there's something, you know, maybe a little more nocturnal about my sentiment at this time. Okay, so let's take a look at Rudra, whose marker star Betelgeuse is at 6 degrees Gemini. The symbol is a teardrop, which represents Rudra's suffering. So as the story goes, Rudra saw in a moment, in a flash of insight, all the suffering of humankind, and he cried. So people who have Ardra prominent feel deeply, especially they feel deeply the suffering of others, whether it's animals, plants, the earth, and they want to help. And, you know, there are shows on TV, what is it, bulldogs for prisoners, not bulldogs, Rottweiler, I think Rottweilers or bull. There's a show where they take dogs and they help ex-cons and prisoners, put them together with dogs to save them. That's a very Ardra thing. I have a friend, an amazing person who has Ardra rising and moon there as well, who wants to teach yoga to prisoners. There is this sense of understanding the plight of those who suffer and wanting to help remedy it. The Shakti is Prayatna Shakti. Prayatna is self-effort, is the desire to improve your circumstances, to rise above your family restrictions. And in that sense, Ardra is a lot like Swati Nakshatra. Swati means to go beyond the limitations of your family, caste, creed, to be like the wind. I'm talking about Swati here, the wind that goes beyond, that is not bound to anything. So Rudra has and by the way, Swati is also ruled by Rahu in the scheme of the 27 nakshatras. So Ardra, like Swati, has the sense of making it on one's own, Prayatna Shakti. And Rudra, who is known as the howler, the one who howls out of pain, for feeling the suffering of others, but also out of anger and wrath, righteous anger. People think, oh, we're spiritual, we shouldn't get angry. Like, oh my God, you're so devolved. Like, I mean, how can you be angry? Well, think about Jesus when he walked into the temple and roared when he saw that place of reverence defiled by these small-minded, mercantile people making little coins and shekels from the devotees. And he turned over the table with righteous anger. So there is a place for righteous anger because it's energy expressed. So just as a cloud is a potential of energy, it lies relatively peaceful until certain elements come together, and that's when you get lightning, and then you get thunder, and you get rain, and you get this power expressed. But otherwise, a cloud is just this innocent thing floating around. So righteous anger. And this righteous anger begins for the Ardra person, let's zoom in on this here a little bit, from the sense of being betrayed or abandoned within their family. And by the way, this can lead to a righteous anger or an unrighteous anger, depending on the point of view. Osama bin Laden has powerful Ardra placements, and he exhibits a lot of these themes, being born in a family and leaving it. So Ardra people will struggle with the parent, especially the same-sex parent. This is a striking theme of Ardra. And they want to strike out in a different direction from the family tradition. There's also a sense of, if you've ever seen the show Maury Povich, where he does the test, who is the father? And this is a very Ardra technique, Ardra issue. So paternity issues, sperm banks, donors, paternity tests, and identity crisis. Who am I? I know I was born in this slum, but I really feel my heart belongs here. I was born in the middle of Wisconsin, but in my heart, I'm a Hindu. I was born in the middle of Hindustan, but in my heart, I'm a Californian. You know, that sense of Ardra is the sense of I don't belong here. I'm an outsider, which is why the caste of this nakshatra is the outsider caste. So this discontinuance of the family tradition, which is very much juxtaposed with Magha nakshatra. Magha nakshatra, by the way, don't call it Maga nakshatra, okay? Because MAGA in the US, it's Make America Great Again. And of course, Donald Trump has Magha nakshatra very prominent, but so it's appropriate in that sense. But Magha, not MAGA, has to do with continuing your family lineage, whereas Ardra is often about discontinuing the family lineage, breaking from the family. So Donald Trump, a Magha person, continued in the line of his father of, he inherited however many hundreds of millions of dollars, and he continued in real estate. Whereas an Ardra person would say, no, I don't want your damn money. It has too many chains on me. I'm going to go do my thing, okay? So there's that problem of identity leads to even an issue with their name. So nicknames, name changes, spiritual names. Who am I, right? This is a big theme with the Ardra person, and which leads them into things like psychology, astrology, the occult, mysticism on one side, but also science and technology. DNA testing is very much an Ardra thing. Ardra people are also attracted to science, and all in the name of discovering who they are. So another quality here of Ardra is anger, which we talked about, rage against injustice, the desire to run away from it all, which can manifest as suicide. Or if not suicide, the person who says, well, screw it, I'm going to choose this life of pain. I'm not going to get better. I don't want to do it, right? I'm going to do it my way. That sense of, okay, I'm married in a difficult situation. I'm just going to, I'm going to choose a life of pain rather than giving in, rather than accepting my father's money, let's say, or rather than accepting an easy way out because I'm going to do it my way. As you can read here, these are some notes that I put down for you guys. They're always trying to purify, like a storm that when it comes down, it purifies all the filth in the city and clears the gutters. So Ardra people are interested in purification and self-perfection, although they never achieve it, right? So you have to know, if you're an Ardra person, you will never achieve that purity and perfection. It's the process that matters. Another quality is a strong urge to, again, run away from it all, to be alone. And so this makes it hard for Ardra people to be in a, committed relationship, especially one that where the partner wants a lot of intimacy. So, or if not intimacy is maybe not the right word, wants a lot of contact, like being together all the time, holding hands, all of that. So if you're married to an Ardra person or considering marriage, consider that whether they're male or female, they're going to need time to get on their motorcycle and drive, to take a train ride by themselves, to take a long walk in the forest and just alone, right? You help them to balance their spiritual life and their family life, and then you will have them forever. Try to hold them and keep them all the time, and they will rebel. And like that storm, there will be anger and bursts. So deep drive to be independent, but karma often drives them to dependence. So one quality of Ardra Nakshatra is their karma is they have this strong drive to be independent, but they're often born in a dependent situation, meaning they have to work at a job. They have to work for, pennies. just to make ends meet, while their heart dreams of being, alone and having money to be free. So that can lead to passive aggressive behavior, where they feel lousy at the job, and so they don't perform well, and that feeds the loop. So they don't get promoted, and they stay in this dependent servile situation. And so the antidote here is truly understanding your dharma. Understanding your dharma. So let's say you are an Ardra person and you always wanted to be an auto mechanic. You love working on cars. But, because of your life situation, you can't go to school to be a mechanic and get the degree. But what's very easy is you become a waiter. But you hate being a waiter, but it makes you money. So during the day, clients are rude, your boss is on you, the hours are long, your feet hurt, and it's so hard to do your mantra or to think spiritual things, and it makes you bitter, okay? Contrast that with a scenario where you go, no, I'm not going to be a waiter. I'm going to try to be the mechanic. Here, your boss is constantly on you. Customers are rude, long hours, your back hurts, but you're doing what you love. And so when that customer is complaining, it's easier for you to say, oh, okay, no problem. Let me give you a free oil change and we'll take care of it. It's easier for you to ignore the body pain because you're constantly learning something new on the job. And that gives you a sense of being in the flow of your dharma. So it's very important for the Ardra person to find their dharma as an outsider, as someone who is going to do it their own way. If you're going to do it your own way, at least find your dharma and do that, rather than doing this conflict of being in a dependent position and dreaming and longing for independence. Okay. Final couple of things. Ardra people have a deep connection with nature, but it's not just the lovey-dovey kind of thing. They also drive those big, combines, oil rigs, mining. Those are all Ardra things. Rudra rules the skies, the heavens, so pilots, meteorologists, people who deal with the sky, stewardesses, and flight attendants. And they also love mechanical devices and machines, motorcycles, trucks, things like this. The dangers are obviously from storms, pointed objects. Ardra people are fascinated with sharp things, knives and spears. And so there is an association with war and fighting as well. So those are some of the Ardra characteristics. And of course, there are more. I did mention caste. This nakshatra is a fierce, or a daruna, a hard, or a tikshna nakshatra, which has to do with things like surgery. If you're going to do surgery, and this nakshatra is well sort of configured, you could do it during this time. Surgery, war, competitions. If you have to, hunt or skin a deer, how people used to live, or break things down or demolish a house. This is a good nakshatra to do those things in. You don't do it when the moon is in Chitra, which is about love and romance and poetry and art. How are you going to demolish your house when the moon is in Chitra? You want to build your house when the moon is in Chitra, or decorate it, or do the, submit the architecture plans, since Chitra rules architecture, but not break it down. So these are some qualities of this nakshatra. I hope this video has been helpful, and we'll see you guys soon.